Okay, ladies and gentlemen, very good morning from the flight deck. Welcome to the second part of the tutorial. In case you haven't watched the first part, just click on the YouTube card in the top right corner and watch the first part where we departed out of Amsterdam. Now we are almost at cruise level. We don't have a very long cruise. You can see this is the top of climb, this is the top of descent, this is not a lot of distance. So, usually 80 miles before reaching the top of descent, you program in your arrival route. To do that, go to the FMC, press the departure arrival button, choose Berlin arrival. Remember we were landing on 25 right. Now our last waypoint, as you can see, is Bartel, so you choose a Bartel star. Now go to the right FMC and take a look at your last waypoint, which is Terda. Now from Terda you will take a transition which will lead you from the last waypoint of the star to the runway. Press execute, go to the legs page, zoom in and go into plan mode. Now with the plan mode you can actually step through the waypoints. You can see our star is really straightforward, so we come in Terda at 4,000 feet, turn in, then we have Kilo Lima Foxtrot, which is I think Klaasdorf or something like that, and now then we are already on the localizer. So this is really simple, really straightforward. You can see our top of descent has actually shifted back a bit because we have now some more distance, but anyway we will plan our approach. So auto brake. Now I think we want to get off the runway as early as possible, so I think auto brake 2 will be fine on long runways, or in case you have to use the whole runway to shorten your taxi time, use auto brake 1, and in case you really need to go to the end of the runway, you don't need any auto brake. So also we need to check our approach reference. Now you can see we've already got the RLS frequency and the course given by the computer, and we've got a few suggestions on which flap setting with which landing speed we shall use. So first of all we need to check on our landing weight, so we go to progress, we check our arrival airport, 3.5 tons of fuel. Now we cross-check that with the OFP, and we can see we were expected to arrive with 3.5 tons. So we take a look at the landing weight, and the landing weight is almost exactly 66 tons. So we put that into there. Now, usually you don't use flaps 15 to land. You either use flaps 30, which is the normal landing setting, or on short runways or heavy winds, or maybe wet runways, you would use flaps 40. So we will use flaps 30 today because the runway is really sufficient. Also, we have to preset the RLS frequency and the course. Remember these 109, 9 and 246. Go to the radio panel and you've got your communications on top, and then you have your navigation below. You can see nav written on the left hand side. Dial in 1099 and press the transfer button to make it active. Again, 1099, transfer button. Now we need to set the course too. So 246 it was, and you usually set everything on both sides, so we put it on this side too. I don't think it makes a big difference, but you just do it. Now we're reaching our top of climb shortly. And once you have reached the top of climb, you can put any altitude you want into this window. Now, usually you take your intercept altitude, so we take a look at the very last altitude restriction before you land. So this is at Lilki, 3,000 feet. At the moment it is 3,000 feet above, but to correct our descent path I will just put 3,000 in straight away. So once we've reached 37,000 feet, we will dial in 3,000 here, and the aircraft will automatically start descending at the top of descent. So wait, 1,000 feet. Really smooth flight at the moment. No turbulence. This is the altitude alert, which means we have around 800 feet to go. We're already prepared for approach. The landing altitude is missing, so you take a look at the charts and you look at the top, at the bottom left corner. Aerodrome elevation 157 feet. Round that up or down. In this case, down 150 feet. Whoops. I just wanted to take a look if you could dial it in earlier, but you can't, so we will wait for the top of climb. For some reason our climb rate has extremely decreased at this high altitudes. I've never experienced that. So, once we reach 37,000 feet, you will see the autopilot modes change. So, come on, 150 feet, you can do it. Unfortunately, you can't. So, take a close look. We're reaching 37,000. Flight level 370, everything above your transition altitude is called flight level. You see FMC speed and VNAV path. So, once this happens, you can dial in 3,000 feet. The intercept altitude is at most big airports 3,000 feet. Sometimes it's also 4,000, and at some special airports with a complicated approach, it might even be lower. So this is our setup for descent. So I'll see you guys. I'll make a short cut, and I'll see you guys once we descend. So everybody, we have started our descent and I have messed up a bit. I have actually found one more restriction, which is at Nazat to be at flight level 100 or below. And I entered that and my descent path shifted. So usually this kind of square, I don't know what it's called in English, has to be in the middle of this descent path indicator. And now you can see it's 5,000 feet below. which is not that good. But there is a possibility to save that, so first of all, cancel this descent path on a Schipol message. Now what you do is, instead of using VNAV, you use level change. So you press the level change button, and what it will do is it'll give you the maximum descent rate possible to hold your speed. So you know that when the nose pitches down, you gain speed. What I did is I put on the speed brake to maximum extent that is possible during the flight, and usually our speed would drop. To compensate that, the autopilot drops our nose. This is how it works. I'm really hoping we can re-achieve our descent path, but I think it should be more than possible. Just remember that at flight level 100 you have to put your speed back to 250. To be on the safe side, I always put it to 240, because in case of gusts or something you always exceed 250. Yeah. Fine. What else can we do? Press descent, go to forecast and put in your transition level. I will leave you a link down below to a website which is called Transition Level Calculator or something. What you do is is the page gonna load? No. You put in your transition altitude, you put in the QNH, and it'll give you the transition level. So in this case, I can do that by myself. I think it should be flight level 60. Transition altitude is flight level is 5,000 feet. So always check back on the init ref page in case the speeds have changed, but they haven't, I think. Now a little tip from a pro like me: you do the following. You go down all the way to the runway fix, then you press the fix button and put it up there. What that will do is it'll allow you to put range rings around the runway. So I always like to have a 5-mile range ring, a 10-mile range ring, and we could make a 15-mile range ring. Yeah, why not? Let's make a 15-mile range ring. There we go. What I also like to do is I like to extend my center line, just in case I need to vector myself around. So what you do is you put a radial in, and the radial is always away from the fix. So our runway heading, I think I might have to check that, 246. You just turn that around by 180 degrees. And I am way too lazy, so I'm just gonna look at the charts for the opposite runway, which is 066. Oh yeah, I'm stupid, I could have, okay. So put 66, limited entry. I think you have to put 066 in. There we go. And it'll give you an extended center line. This green line right there is the extended center line. We can just double check by going into the plan mode. You can see our range rings pretty clearly, and you can see the center line extending further. Just a small tip, sometimes that is really handy to determine how far away you are from touchdown. So we're looking good on the descent profile. We've made up half of it, which is pretty good. This is why level change is really, really good. Flying online, you would also use a lot of level change, because you are required to descend at your maximum possible rate. Except for if you are descending through a profile, like on a transition, or with a or when ATC gives you a fixed descent rate. What you could do is you could press the VS button and put the vertical speed in yourself, but the level change thing combines this with the speed, so you don't have to constantly tune in another another vertical speed. So 7,000 feet to go. We're descending with 2,500 feet per minute. We have got 4 minutes to go until reaching Nazat, so 4 times 2,300 is 8,000, 9,200, so yes, we will make 10,000 feet or below at Nazat. Maths is really handy when being a pilot. Also below 20,000 feet you would put on your fasten seatbelt sign. I forgot that right now because I'm stupid, but yeah. The fasten seatbelt sign has, I mean, this is really mandatory. It has to be on below 10,000 feet. Most airlines put it off when climbing through 10,000 feet. And when it comes to descent, a lot of airlines are really special. Long-haul carriers often put it on when reaching top of descent, because the cabin crew needs the time to clean up the cabin. Short-haul airlines or low-cost airlines try to put it on as close to the destination as possible. So I think you would either put it on at 20,000 feet or 20 minutes before arrival, and I think it's whatever comes last. So, yeah. Once we've got our descent path back, I'm gonna put VNAV back on. You shouldn't really mess around with the descent restrictions. I was just curious why the chart told me something else than my FMC, so. Also, get your minimums from the chart. Almost every commercial airliner is a Category C aircraft, and we're doing a Category 1 approach. So you look at the table, you go Category C, Category 1, 360 feet. So you go reset on the barrow button, and you dial in 360. There we go. And just for reference, I want to know where I am. So Berlin-Tegel should be somewhere around. Let's see if we can spot it actually. Maybe from the wing. This is an airfield. I kind of want to dip below the clouds, but I can't. Yeah, we can't see it through the clouds, sadly. So, 10,000 feet, I will put VNAV back on, and it'll slow me down. Put your fixed landing lights, your runway turn-off lights, and your taxi lights on. Seatbelt sign is on. And we are currently holding our altitude to be able to lose some speed. Again, I've got my speed brakes out to help it along the way, but I'll retract the speed brakes right now so we can descend further. So there we go, we're now going through the clouds. Oh, that is so gorgeous. Now you can see this glide slope indicator on the top, so that means you're below the glide slope, and you can see the localizer indicator to the left, which means you are to the right of the localizer. Now, again, yellow warning below the altimeter. Press the standard button and press B. Also, once you're going through transition level, put the engine start switches to continuous again, put the wing light on and the retractable landing lights. Now let me just quickly show you. The retractable landing lights are the lights down here, and usually you would not use them in flight because they add drag. So when departing you would put them in as soon as possible and on arrival as late as possible to reduce the drag and increase efficiency. Now we should be able to see the airport now. I think it's right there. Just quickly zoom in. I can't really see anything. Now you can see this green point here, which says decel. This is our deceleration point. This is the point where VNav will adjust our speed accordingly. So it'll go to the flaps 1 bug and we will set flaps 1 and it'll go, yeah, like this. So we would decelerate at this point. Now let me just talk you through the landing technique. Landing the 737 isn't actually quite hard. What you do is you try to have a really stable approach, so you follow localize and glide slope. What you can do is you can leave the autopilot to do that, but I would recommend to land manually and not do an auto land. You can do an auto land if you wanted to, but I mean, we all want to have fun a few times, so you can see we have reached our deceleration point. We're decelerating. We're also reaching our 15-mile mark, so I'm gonna put flaps 1 to help it along the way. Maybe some speed brake. Now what you do is at 500 feet roundabout, you want to make sure you're really stable on the approach. If you're too high, too low, or too offset from the localizer, you may want to go around. What you do is you aim for 50 feet above the threshold. So once you cross the threshold, you want the 50 feet call out. You can see we've now captured the final approach calls. And I will put in our second autopilot. Now, what you are doing is... Are we even approaching the right runway? Yes, we are. So what you want to do is 50 feet above the threshold, and you want to aim at the end of the runway. So put your eyes to the end of the runway. This will allow you to hit the touchdown zone pretty exactly. At 20 feet you want to close the thrust levers, so you want to go full idle, and you want to hold the attitude. Usually the airplane wants to drop the nose once you reduce the thrust to keep the speed. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to smash the airplane into the ground. You actually want to hold the attitude you have so you can touch down with the main wheels first. Now we're reaching our 10-mile mark, so flaps 5. You can see the speed will reduce further. Flaps 5, there we go. And you can see we're reaching 3,000 feet and we're at the same time meeting the glide slope. This is perfectly matched VNav. So see, there we go, the glide path. Now, in case you would go around, you would now set the go around altitude so you don't have to deal with this once you're handling the aircraft in a high stress situation. So we're 7 miles away from the runway. You can see that here. This is the distance, 2,500 feet. At around 2,000, we'll put gear down, flaps 15. You actually don't want to look at this altimeter, you want to look at the radio altimeter. So we'll go gear down, flaps 15. And the speed is now ours, so we'll go the VREF plus 5, so 155 knots. And we can select flaps 30. And now it's just landing the airplane. It's really not that hard. So again, let it stabilize, let the autopilot do that. You can see we're a bit too high and we are not entirely spot on the speed, so the autopilot will compensate that. I'm very sorry for the terrible ground textures. Absolutely terrible. Now our runway is straight ahead, no visibility problems. We're 1,000 feet above the ground. At around 500 feet I will take over. Match up. Sold connection lost. I don't care. Match up your actual thrust levers with the virtual thrust levers, so you don't go full toga once you put out the auto thrust. So again, we're a bit too high, but I will compensate that. So auto thrust off, autopilot off. I will now dip the nose a bit. Reduce the thrust so you stay on the speed. I'm actually going visual right now. We have the runway right in front of us. Landing. 100. 50 above the threshold. 20, close the thrust. Keep the attitude. Don't flare like I just did. Hold the attitude. And there we go. We'll use full reverse. Auto brakes are doing their work. And I want to take the next exit. So manual brakes and reverses stowed. There we go, that wasn't actually that bad. I overflared a bit. You see, once you have to really hold the attitude. Don't pitch up, because then you will flare too much. So that is what happened to me. Now, we will retract the flaps, put the auto brake off, stow the speed brake, landing lights off, strobe lights off, wing lights off, put the engine start switches back to continuous, and we will start the APU. You remember that from the first part, how you do that. Now let me just take that turn without actually screwing it. Airport parking chart north. I think we'll take, what gate shall we take? Gate. Let's go gate 54. Or 55? Yeah, let's take 55 then. No follow me needed. Ending by Lufthansa. And now just taxi at a slightly higher speed. Don't forget to put your weather radar and your terrain radar off, because you might be causing damage to the human organs. Stop the stopwatch, on the left side at least. This yellow warning light is telling you that the APU is started, so we will already transfer the electrical power to the APU, so that we can shut down the engines faster once we are on the gate. Thrust, because we're really slowing down, we're really heavy, which doesn't really help. So gate 55, pretty easy. We're gonna taxi down this taxiway. We're now at Kilo 1, we'll go Kilo, then Kilo 4. Now it's telling us that apron 1 is to our left. I don't need apron 1. I don't taxi faster than 30 knots, that's too much. I will actually just check on my landing rate because I want to know how we did. Minus 225 feet per minute, that's pretty nice. Actually, it's not always about really greasing it. It's about getting it down safely. So, I mean, you can touch down at minus, I don't know, 60. But this would be a bit dangerous because you would miss the touchdown zone. And you will, you might run out of runway. So, there are actually houses on my apron, which is not how it should look. I will just accept that and try to ignore it. So that's Kilo 3 to our left. What's the problem with it? Do we have actual houses on the... No, we don't. It's just on the grass. It's so interesting. Because I'm very sure nobody lives on the apron. Not entirely sure. So once we enter the apron, we will turn off our exterior lights so we don't actually blind anyone. Again, oversteer a little. Really slowing down, which upsets me a bit. Because usually you don't need that much thrust. Okay, that really doesn't look that healthy to live on the apron. I think... So actually there is nothing on the apron. So the apron is clear. It's just like, I mean, why would a house stand right here? It really doesn't look that realistic. Anyway, so we're entering the apron, so exterior lights off. I'll slow down a bit for the parking. I'm actually overshooting this turn a bit, so I can... Which one are we taking? I think it's 55. Yep. Now I... Yeah, there we go. Don't want to slow down too much. There we go. That should be sufficient. Too far, but I really don't care, so... Now, we can cut the engines. We'll leave the fuel pumps on, hydraulics off, probe heat off, packs off, isolation valve open, yaw damper off, IRS is off, and now we're just waiting for around 20% N2 so that we can release the passengers and put the beacon light off. 20%, so fasten seatbelt signs off, anti-collision light off. Now we can ask for ground services. Ground connections, wheel chocks and ground power, remove the parking brake, ground power on the buses, APU off. Want to connect the jetway and request deboarding. So I will open the doors accordingly. There we go, welcome to Berlin. Also, once you're on the blocks, stop the right clock. I stopped it, I reset it now, but 1 hour 14 it was. So I hope you enjoyed the flight and I hope you could learn something. If you want me to do this for other airplanes as well, just leave a comment. I will do my best. And until then, I wish you a very nice day. Wish you a lot of fun flying the airplane. And yeah, stay subscribed, like the video if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.